So does God speak through signs? I think we would all be hard-pressed not to at least find one person in our life, including ourselves, that hasn't had some type of strange coincidence that you would chalk up to like, that's God. When God speaks in as many different ways, prayer, dreams, impressions, audibly, scripture, those are definitely signs. But that's not the signs I'm talking about today.
There was a priest! He said there were signs everywhere!
What priest?
Right by the hot dogs! And then you have the Chihuahua, the Grand Canyon, the little girl named Isabel. I mean, there are signs everywhere!
In today's quick video, we are looking at other God signs. Well, really one, you. On July 11th of 2018, God spoke to me about signs in my journal, and that's what I want to share with you next. While applying my faith for the last 20 years as a follower believer, worship leader, and now a missionary, I've had the honor and the privilege to come alongside and help hundreds of people and groups of all ages to hear God for themselves and to obey their God callings. And one of the ways that I have done that is to help people to recognize how they can communicate with God. One of the ways that I have learned over the years to communicate with God is through journaling. Some of you may have even watched one or two of my videos on this. Here's one right here that a lot of people are reacting to. One of the entries from that journal on July 11th of 2018 speaks about signs, where God actually talked to me about signs in a very unique and different way. Let me read it to you. I started out by saying, "Good morning, Father. What do you want to talk to me about today?" The response back was the word signs. I responded, "Okay, signs. Tell me more about this, Father." He answered, "Signs are my way of talking to you." To which I replied, "Okay, Father." He went on, "You are a sign to them, Ian, to the Yao people," he declared. Now let me stop for a second. The Yao people are the ones that my family and I are working with all over this region here that you see me walking for hundreds and hundreds of miles, and they make up a people of almost 3 million people over the top of Mozambique, Tanzania, and parts of Malawi. The Yao people group are the reason that we moved to Africa. So when the Father said this to me, "You are assigned to them," obviously I was listening. Let's go on. I answered, "How is that, Father, that I'm assigned to them?" He replied, "An unmovable and a movable one." How? I asked him. He said, "You are mobile on a daily basis, but you are strong and unchanged about your belief and love of me, as a sign to them of my love as you run by them through the villages." See, I do a lot of running and CrossFit training, and so that's what he was alluding to, because I have run by many, many, many Yao villages over the last almost 10 years. So I answered, "I see, Lord, but what else? Is there anything else?" Then he answered again, "Sometimes a sign changes everything in a moment, but other times it just points to something bigger." Immediately, I knew what he meant by this. We all know that if we're driving in a car and a light turns yellow, that is a sudden change that changes everything, right? Or if someone runs into the street and throws up their hands for you to stop or is waving at you, that's a sign of something changing something in the moment. But when you walk into a building and you're on your way out and you see an exit sign, that exit sign points to something bigger. You're actually leaving an environment. Or even the entrance sign, right? It's the sign letting you know that you can go in, but it's leading to something much, much, much bigger, which is the assembly of people or the corporate gathering of something. The Lord confirmed again and said, "These signs can bring sudden change or progressive change." At this point, my mind was blown by the simplicity of what the Lord was saying to me, and I said, "Wow, Father, signs." And then I said, "Thank you for sharing this with me, and please make me a love sign for you." After this journal writing, I began to really realize that as I ran through the villages,
From that day on, if I was going somewhere, I was running.
That boy sure is a running fool.
I was sending a message that would last for eternity, for the good or the bad of the Yao. And I began to remember times when people would say to me things that I had said to encourage them or to show them love, to build them up, even when I couldn't even speak the language well. In those moments, they had witnessed God's sign of love through me, and I pray that my family continues to be a sign to them. If you are still wondering what you can do as a believer on this earth, maybe you don't know what your God calling is yet. Maybe you've even thought, man, I can't teach well, I can't preach well, or maybe I don't have the courage to share my testimony every day, or I can't play an instrument, or whatever it is. My question to you would be, can you share his love? Share his love with just your simple presence, with being able to recognize and notice people around you. What sign are you showing the world every day? Friends, let me summarize what God was saying. We are signs to the world for him. He speaks in signs in many different ways. We've learned that in some of the videos I've shared and the ones I'm going to share. But one of the greatest signs that he's ever shown is that he came down to earth as a man, walked out what we've walked through. And the book of Hebrews says that he knows the same temptations that we've gone through. And so he is the perfect person, the perfect high priest to endure and understand what we are enduring here. And so, because of that, because he's given us the opportunity for him to dwell inside of us, we can live in the same type of love, the same type of sharing, and the same type of sign of love to the people around us. So, friends, are you willing to be his sign? Are you willing to show his love? If you are, and if you want to grow and have access to a like-minded community, click the link below and join us. And if you need more help processing areas of your life like this with God, this video right here will help you to know when God might be speaking to you so that you can respond. Until the next time, walk in faith, go in courage.